listening to the Bogus Otis Show. It's the only podcast dedicated to my buddy Sammy. Sammy Hagar, that is. Ow! He used to always say, what is understood need not be discussed. Well, you know what? What is understood need to be discussed, especially if it's about Sammy Hagar, the Red Rocker. Keep rocking, guys. Yeah!
We take our chance with new beginnings. Still we try, win or lose, take the highs with the blues. Happy anniversary, listeners. We are the world's only dedicated Sammy Hagar podcast. This is the Bogus Otis Show. I am Bohost Brent. That is Bohost Darren, my friend. Happy anniversary.
Here we are. This is the week. 40 years, man. I'm excited.
We've been talking about this so much. I feel like it's a real anniversary. Like I'm married to the 5150 album. It's kind of strange. I don't know.
So my wife finally broke this week. And she's like, can we listen to something else around the house? Because I've been playing it.
Please.
And I said, look, I met this album before you. So stop.
Hey, listen, there's a relationship there. 4 decades is no slouch.
He was here first.
Yeah, and this episode, we've got a really special guest who's going to wind the clock back with us and talk about those 4 decades long ago, even though we're all like, I don't know, 31 or something like that. Please welcome back another repeat guest that we are so excited to have, podcast host, music journalist, Van Halen News Desk contributor, Eric Senich. Hello, sir.
Hey, Brent, Darren, it's great to see you guys again. I love the show. It's been a while since I've been on, so it's so great. I'm glad you decided to have me back. I guess I did okay enough. Or is this the third time?
I think the third time. Yeah, I think it is the third. You also refereed an episode that we did some time ago. We were talking off air. It has been a while since we've seen you in living color, and I'm telling you, you're like reverse aging. I don't know what's going on here.
You said that when we jumped on. I'm laughing because I'm like, you got to be kidding me, because I feel my age.
Is there a 5150 potion that we should be taking? I think maybe that's what it is.
You could talk to Sammy about that. Sammy told me not to say. I can't talk too much about
he's
that.
Been sitting his vitamins and stuff. Is
that what's having some
seriously? I mean, that guy, Sammy. I mean, I was like, at one point, I'm like, I don't think he's going to show any signs of aging. I mean, now, like, he's 78 and he looks like he's 48. You know, it's like, okay, but sounds fantastic, man. I love that live album. With Satriani and Michael and Kenny Aronoff, and love the song.
Encore. Thank you. Good night.
Encore, thank you. Good night.
Yeah.
I mean, I remember when I first heard it, I was like, oh, that's okay. And it has grown on me, like, now to the point where I get goosebumps every time I hear it. Yeah,
me too, man. And I rewatch. It's funny in this day and age when things fly, we're inundated with media all day long, right? I saw the video when it first came out and I watched it, on my phone, whatever. And because I've been listening to the same album as you, and I was saying to Brent on our last episode, like, man, I'm just been on that nonstop. Like, I forgot.
Same here.
Killer. That I went back and I actually rewatched the video, and yeah, man, I had like goosebumps standing. It was, what a killer song.
Did you have the same experience? So at first you kind of indifferent, or?
Well, look, man, anything Sammy releases, I'm in.
Right.
But you're right. I was like, cool. Hey, cool, very cool. It's like a chicken foot. I love it. Very Eddie-ish. And I think there's a lot of, there's chatter online from certain groups. They liked it, they didn't like it, whatever. So, I liked it, put it aside for a bit. But I think it was that live version with the crowd in it that really kind of brought me back to it. And now he's moved that song. But I said to Brent, I'm like, how can he start off with a song called Encore, Thank You, Good Night? Come on.
Right. He started with it.
So he's moved it to the end.
Right. Although
which is where I think it belongs, right?
I will say this. It does belong there. However, I will say I thought it was a great move by him in terms of the legacy artists who have, when they tour, they're going to be playing all the favorites that everybody loves. If you do have new music, what's the one time you're going to emotionally grab them and have them in a place where they're going to remember that new song most, is when they're most excited. That's when the show just starts and you're fired up. When you hear that song, you might attach with them, I think that's my philosophy. If I'm a legacy band and I want to introduce a new song, play it right away up
Good point.
front. But
point.
to your point, encore. The name is an encore, so now he moved it at the end. But what a
I love it, man. I love it.
What a set list.
I mean, I think what it means at the end of the day is the encore is the 18 songs that follow in the show, because we're also keep them coming. We want to hear more and more, right? It's crazy.
Well, now he's adding Crack in the World to this set list, at least according to that Instagram video I saw he posted.
Yeah, I think it's pretty interesting when you see that board that appears to be, I don't know, in the dressing room or somewhere backstage, and all the messing around with the sheets and the pages. It shows you again, not that there was ever any doubt about how serious they're taking these run of shows, but they're getting deep. They're going back in the vault, and they're very, very serious about the set list they're putting together, especially when you have 2 weeks back to back where there's 3 shows in a Vegas style residency. If you've got people in town for the week and maybe are coming to multiple shows, they love to see something a little bit different each night.
Yeah. And I was kind of bummed to somebody took a shot at the set list, and Sammy got pissed and he responded. He's like, "Are you insane?" I don't know if you saw that, but because I think he got pissed because, I mean, you could tell he's putting a lot of time and effort into the set list. And look, the reality is, if you are an artist that's been around for a while, you have to play. There's certain songs you got to play. I mean, if the Stones are going to go out there, they got to play "Start Me Up." They got to play "I Can't Get No Satisfaction." There's songs that you have to put in there, and then you have that rotating, maybe a handful of songs that you can change up. And he's doing that. I mean, he's putting in songs that, I mean,
and Crack of the World, man, just that one.
Oh my God,
verse alone where he predicted so much.
In 2025
deserves to be in there. So hopefully they're recording this. I would love a live version of that recorded, right? If there's a second version of this live residency,
right,
or even a properly recorded single of that, or one-off Spotify release, I'm down for that. Bring it.
Yeah. But it's a hell of a band, man. The hell of a band with Mikey there, and his voice hasn't lost a single centimeter to the passage of time. It's like his voice is just frozen in time.
Yeah, I think what's interesting, we often lament what we didn't get released, and we're probably going to talk about that a little bit tonight, as well as we're having hot in our hands the new deluxe 5150 release. But let's not forget any music, any live shows that we get right now from an artist like that it's a bonus, it's a gift, and it's special because many of our favorite artists are not doing that anymore.
100%. Just listening, Eddie Money came up on my Spotify like random playlist, and I used to go see Eddie Money almost every year when he'd come around, and you'll never be able to see him again.
Yeah.
And he's one of many. So yeah, I mean, the fact that Sammy's out there, Boston
just lost their singer, sadly, right?
I'm going to go see Dave when he comes to Connecticut here, May 31st, and saw Sammy when he came to Bridgeport, Connecticut. I hope maybe he'll come around. I don't know. Do you guys think he's just going to stick to Vegas now, or what's his plan for that?
Yeah, my gut says what we're seeing is these Vegas residencies will probably go on in perpetuity to some degree, as long as his health is there. I think that's where he realizes there's an opportunity to maximize the number of shows and the audience reach. It's much less grueling on your body at that age, for sure. And there is that little run that we're going to see in June. There's a half a dozen shows that he's doing in some select U.S. cities.
That's right.
Of course, we lament that we're not going to get him at least this year back. Doing a run through our neck of the woods up Canada in the Toronto area. But that's okay. I mean, again, back to my earlier comment. Any shows and any music or any release that comes out of those shows, maybe a new song as a one-off or another live album. I mean, bring it on. Who's going to say no? Or
just do what Aerosmith's doing and record everything, right? I'll take every night, specific nights in their entirety as one-offs. Just record it all. Record everything.
Right. Well, is that so is Steven Tyler able to go back out there again? and
Well,
sing?
what I
What's
mean is like they've been recording almost every night forever. So
that's okay. You're
they're
talking
like, here's Toledo,
right.
May 5th, 1988 in
I
its
got you.
entirety.
Kiss does something similar. The
Kiss, same thing.
soundboard stuff. Oh, that's it.
Just
You just
record it all.
keep giving your fans something that at least they have an option of getting. But
Especially at
and
this late stage, right? Like just do it all, record all of it, right?
and this set list that Sammy's got, it's almost a third from the album we're going to talk about.
Yeah, that's a great segue, Eric. If you look at most of the current set lists that are happening, there's 4 of the 9 tracks from 5150. Why Can't This Be Love? Best of Both Worlds. Love Walks In, and Good Enough. God bless you. Thank you so much for playing Good Enough as he did a couple of years ago on the first Best of All Worlds tour. So pretty nice that. Again, on the 40th anniversary milestone, we're getting to hear, essentially half of that record live. Pretty special.
And an interesting little piece of trivia, could have been 5. There's one song that ended up on Sammy's solo album that could have been on 5150. Am I going to leave that for you guys to reveal? We'll talk about it later.
Do it. Spill it.
Go for it.
That's Eagles Fly.
Yeah.
Which, in my opinion, is the best song Sammy's written. And that was a song that was brought to the table, and they decided not to. So he put it on the 87 album, the solo album.
Yeah, absolutely right. I mean, it's lived in that solo acoustic spot for many, many, many tours since. So very,
I wonder
very
when he brought that
agree.
song, because we know that Sammy, one of the videos, in little clips they've released, they're saying they recorded 5150 over the course of 10 days, right?
Right.
So in that time, at what point in those 10 days was that song brought up and then turned away? Because we also know that Dreams was one of the later songs on there. So let's pretend it's day 8.
Right.
Mick Jones is like, we need one more song, gents. And it's Dreams.
Yep.
So
wasn't it also brought to the table for OU812 as well? Because Give to Live and Eagles Fly, I just remember Sammy telling that story in 2 different versions. One that because I was just watching his interview on the Professor of Rock's YouTube channel, and he said Eagles Fly was intended for 50, or was offered up for 5150.
Yeah,
but I think I've heard him say OU812 as well. No?
Yeah, he did. You're absolutely right. Yeah. So I don't know if it was maybe just a melody or a riff or a line initially. I don't know how complete that song was maybe flushed out in the 5150 time, because we know that when they, finally convened in the studio and he was, in many ways, coming up with lyrics on the spot for 5150 for several songs, and they just, dove in and did it. I think the actual recording of the music from start to finish happened quite quickly once they decided, okay, you're the guy, let's convene, let's start the tapes rolling. What took long was the mix and the polish and the finishing of it, right up until, as we know, they're scheduled to go out on tour and actually had to cancel and postpone a few shows, Hawaii and others, before the tour started, because the album wasn't even ready yet.
Right. Yeah, interesting. It's the best opening lyrics of any Sammy song. Sunday morning, 9 a.m., I saw fire in the sky. I mean, it just sets the whole scene. It's like, I just want to keep listening. It's to me, I think that's his highlight moment as a songwriter. But he's written some great ones with Eddie, and he'll tell you it's because of Ed bringing the music to the.
Well, we just did a Sunday morning episode on Dreams, and we were going back and forth, Brent and I, and like, is this Sammy's apex moment as a vocalist, as a singer?
As a vocalist, yes.
Is it Dreams where he goes up to the high note,
as
or
a vocalist,
is it when he goes
yes.
up to the high note on Eagles Fly? Because that's when he goes up to that high note. Those are the two. Because we were actually asking Brent, we're like, hey, what's another song where he goes up even higher to take the pre-chorus before the outro, just out of the sky, and that's it, man.
You're right, because that just gives me to steal Sammy's goosebumps right there. You see.
So was it this? Was it Mick Jones going, hey, mate, we can't have this I want some action on there because we already got Good Enough. They're too close. And sorry, Sammy, we love your Eagles Fly tune, but we just did that Dreams tunes. We already got that. That was my English slash.
It was very good, Mick Jones.
Third accent.
That was an interesting
We'll fix it in post.
interpretation.
Yes.
I love that.
Yeah, that's a good point. But I would say still, Sammy, the Dreams is his vocal high point, because that throughout that song, and even in the chorus, where he's going way up there, and it's it's the entire song. He's delivering a performance that he was able to do, but it was difficult for him to do even at the time. Like right, straight out of the studio and onto the road, it was going to be hard for him to sing in '86, and he was singing it up through Balance Tour and even beyond that. And I haven't listened to that episode yet, but I'm going to. But I did listen to the one you did on Eagles Fly. I think was maybe 2 episodes before that, or but the version he does on Light Roast, I mean, I think he can play Dreams and include it in the set list now. Just do it that way,
Yeah, that's
tune it
that's
down
a really,
and
very, very interesting comment, because this Sammy Sunday morning little mini episode in particular that we just have done in the last handful of days, we actually focused on the Dreams version from Light Roast, and talked exactly about still being able to hit that register even in a stripped down acoustic version. And I submitted in our conversation that in my opinion, Dreams, lyrically, performance wise, and even the music, could quite possibly be the best song on 5150. Now, my illustrious co-host will certainly beg to differ, and we're going to talk about the title track in some depth here tonight as well. But I'm hard pressed from a vocal performance perspective on the album to say that there's anything better than Dreams.
hard to argue, although I'm going to agree with what Martin Popoff told you guys. Why Can't This Be Love is the smartest, musically smartest pop song you'll ever hear. The scatting and there's just the way that song's constructed is pop rock brilliance. I'm curious, what do you guys think of this extended version?
I'm just going to ask, because let me just pause there for a sec, because we talk about Mick Jones's contribution to this, and I won't do the English Southern accent again. No more accents.
Yeah,
But
I'm done with that.
I'd like to know when that song, or when Mick came into the picture, because to me, this might piss off a lot of people, that's the best blend of rock ballad that I wish, if Mick was probably going, damn it, this is the best Foreigner song not done by Foreigner.
Right.
Right?
Right. Yeah.
No, I think you're absolutely onto something there. It's, I think it among its detractors, it got a little bit of heat for being maybe, too poppy. And, here again, let's blame Sammy for the keyboards, which we know is categorically untrue. And even though it had that pop hook mass appeal, it's still at the same time a rock song, and it's still at the same time has some ballad kind of characteristics to it. So
it's Sammy's all weight,
yeah,
right?
yeah, agreed.
But I wonder
Absolutely.
if Mick Jones is like, because I mean, look, I love Lou Gramm, man. He's one of my favorite vocalists, but second to
Hell yeah.
Sammy, right? So Mick Jones is in the room going, damn it, they got a better lead guitar player, a better singer, and this is the ultimate Foreigner-esque song in the hands of a much more capable band.
Right.
Damn it. Damn it.
Yeah. He yes. I'm sure he was thinking that. If
Yeah,
only
he
I
went
could
he went
maybe
home
talk Eddie
smarting. He went home smarting a little bit after
Yeah.
that one. That one hurts.
Yeah.
Eric, so you don't have to tell us if the Van Halen News Desk provided you with an advance copy of the deluxe release. We don't want to
You
compromise
don't
you
want to
in any
know?
way there.
Okay.
Don't reveal.
I won't say anything.
Don't do it. Don't do it. Don't do it.
It's coming out, what, like 4 days from the day we're
It's
recording
here.
this. So
It's
so
here. It's here.
it's
So tell us,
here.
It's being
what,
packaged up.
what's
right.
what's your initial reaction to what you're seeing here? We're getting a little bit more of a taste of some pieces of Live Without a Net that have long been desired by the fan base. We're getting another one of these sort of rarities. They're labeling it, and you can interpret that again however you like. We're getting some video coverage, the Blu-ray, and a dusted off and improved version of Live Without a Net. So how do you feel in its entirety this package with this re-release?
Yeah, my first thought, I was so happy to find out that the Live Without a Net is going to be released in audio form finally, because I've always loved listening to that. I ripped the CD and turned it into an MP3 many years ago, like 20 years ago. And hearing it now, and it's going to be pristine, and it's going to be, I don't know if it was remixed, but remastered, I'm sure. And that is what I'm most excited about, because the live version of 5150 is absolutely jaw-dropping. The solo, I was just watching the video before we started recording. The live version of Summer Nights is phenomenal. So I'm really excited about that. I know that some people, and they have it, the HD upgrade too, the actual video version. And I know some people were kind of hoping to get I Want Action, which was
Want Some Action. Yeah.
Want Some Action. That's fine. I mean, it would have been cool to have it in there, but I could see why the song wasn't included on the album. It's not a great song, but it would have been cool to have it in there. But so happy that this is getting the deluxe edition release. Knew it was coming, but go ahead. Am I somebody doing a timeout or?
Yeah, so we're gonna put you over the open flame here a little bit on I Want Some Action.
Oh, you guys like it?
You're talking to a couple of guys here that are absolutely lamenting the fact that we're not getting that. Even in its sort of raw form, in the rough demos audio that you get on YouTube of that song, we feel it's a little bit criminal that you wouldn't put something like that on a rarities disc. And I'll just say before Darren jumps in here, I'm happy that we're getting Good Enough added, which was left off of Live Without a Net. Happy that we're getting Wild Thing too. I mean, it's kind of cool to hear them do a song like that. I just wish they'd gone the extra mile, and also then at the same time, why not give us Dreams, and why not give us Darren, you'll have to edit this little piece in.
What else missing from the official release?
Yeah.
The Robert Palmer?
No, sorry.
Well, I know.
The other frickin' Van Halen song. Not ain't talking about love, but running with the devil.
Running with the Devil.
Yeah.
Well, they really, yes, on both points. So number one is, it would have been nice to hear I Want Some Action cleaned up, because that's the only version that we've heard is kind of like a shoddy version of it that's on YouTube. It would have been great. There's no reason not to. I don't know why. That was Alex's call. Why not put that in there? Because yes, it would have been cool to have that in there. But I would say even the more disappointing aspect of this is that, there was a full show that was recorded that night in New Haven, which, by the way, I should know. I mean, New Haven's 45 minutes from me here. I went to college in New Haven, and props to you guys for getting Rick Valente from New Haven, because he's hard to find. I always wanted to interview him. So I'm right near the New Haven Coliseum. I saw Kiss there in 1989. But yeah, to have that whole show would have been really cool.
Yeah.
And you always wonder why not.
Well, we're from the school of, if not now for the 40th, when?
Mm-hmm.
Right? Would not make the best sense to do it right now? Like,
yeah.
Unless there's a 50th of 5150, well, we'll get absolutely everything.
How many, I wonder, of all the other bands out there, all the other bands out there and the fan bases out there, did they experience the same thing? I mean, is there always some kind of disappointment with some?
Well, dude, we talked about Kiss, man. They get you get every version ever. Now you gotta pay. You gotta pay for it. But like Gene Simmons will give you everything. I listened
to more than a few Kiss podcasts, and there's always still a Kiss fan or two that's going to complain about something. Yeah. So maybe there's. But I think we can all agree, as Van Halen fans, we have more legitimate gripes than most bands. Right. Yeah. That's true. But you go back to these times, and it was good time all the time. Like, didn't Eddie say that? Remember that when
Oh,
he's
man.
like, nowadays it's, we had some good times with Dave, but now it's good time all the time, but it's true. And this album, it has special meaning to me. It was December 24th, 1988. That my brother had the cassette. I mean, just kind of setting it up. My friends in high school, I had a couple who were huge Van Halen fans, and they just kept talking about, you got to listen to this stuff. And I heard what was on the radio. And here's how much of an amateur Van Halen fan I was. When 5150 came out, I was 14. I wasn't really I was into music a little bit. I was looking for a band to love, and I bought Synchronicity from the Police. That was the first album I ever bought. And I had Stay Hungry from Twisted Sister. And I liked music, but this was that first moment where I was just intoxicated, like, by what I was listening to. I was so moved by it, especially when you got to the second track of Why Can't You Love Me. Hear that pulsating intro and Dreams, and it was just one track after another. I was like, this is amazing. And I remember it was my brother's cassette, and I had it in a cheap Walkman. And when it was done, after Inside was over, I'm like, shit, man, I'm listening to this again. I flipped the thing around. I played it again straight through. And from that moment on, I've been chasing that high. That is the moment I became not just a Van Halen fan, but a fan of rock and roll, and just chasing that high that you get off of listening to a certain piece of music that just takes you somewhere else.
Dude, that's awesome. That's a great way to say it, right?
I'll never forget it. I will never forget it. And that just changed. It really, I don't want to get dramatic, but it changed my life. Van Halen became a huge part of my life. And I was, how does a human being even, with Eddie, playing the way he played, I was like, how is this possible? And then my older brother's like, well, you got to listen to this. He had 1 and 2 on vinyl. And it's like, are you kidding me? Eruption and all that stuff.
Yeah.
But what they were doing with Sammy was more melodic, and but it really struck with me. And I've always been a fan of both eras.
So we want to talk specifically about the title track, and I'll set it up like this. There's a 40th anniversary Life magazine special cover to cover that came out a few years ago. And there's a guy named Chuck Klosterman who outlined a little story in there, and he said what he called the Essential Van Halen playlist. It's 16 tracks. Here's the downside, only 2 of which are Hagar era songs. One is Pound Cake and the other is 5150. So the debate on why only 2 of 16 tracks are Hagar in his essential playlist is for another day. But here's what he said about 5150. The song, the title track, he says, an obliquely romantic Hagar track, playful and well played, quasi funky. It's carried out by an exceptional vocal performance, particularly on the chorus. So this really kind of encapsulates 5150 as a song, and very representative of the entire vibe on this album. Eric, to your point a minute ago, this is you put it on and you listen to it, cover to cover, front to back. You don't skip over any of it, and maybe go back and listen to it again. So my co-host is a massive fan of this song, as I know are you. So, just reading Chuck's, description of this song, how about Eric's description of this song? How does it hit you in the spot that it's supposed to hit you?
Yeah, 5150, the title track, it's a song that has aged better than maybe any song on the album. It's aged like a fine wine. It just gets better with time. It is, Sammy talked about this song about, it was like 3:00 in the morning when Eddie called him. They were in New York. They were going to play, I think, at the MTV Video Awards. He said something about it. They had just made the announcement that they were a band. And he was laughing because he said, this is at a time I didn't know that it was the norm for Eddie to call me at 3:00 in the morning. Like, he's like, when somebody calls me at 3, 4 in the morning, I think something's wrong. But it was, and he's like, no, man, no, I gotta play something for you. I gotta play something for you. And he had the electric guitar, didn't have the amp, but he was playing. And Sammy's like, whoa, man, I'm digging this. And Eddie's like, let me come down there, man. Let me come down there. Let's finish this. And he did. They went to Sammy's room, and I think he said the opening was even longer than what it is now. But Sammy's was just blown away by the complexity of it and just the musicality of it. It was something that he could never write. And then he said, this is where I had to learn like mathematics. Like I had to kind of figure out where I'm going to put my lyrics in. When am I going to jump in here? How do I make this work? Because it's more like a piece of music than it is a song that you would sing over. And he did it. And you just talked about, he was just scatting, coming up with lyrics. And he just immediately thought of a relationship, an uneven relationship. But then he laughed about like 5150, the song and the album. And it was the name of Eddie's studio. And, it's the police code for somebody criminally insane. He said, he goes, somebody's got to be insane to write something this fucking good, and it just blew him away. And so I think for me, when I first heard it, I've actually liked it more and more as the time goes on, because I gravitated more towards the radio friendly singles. And my friends who were the guitar head friends of mine, they always talked about the title track. They always talked about it. Love that and Summer Nights. From a guitarist perspective, it was something that just blew their minds. And over the years, the more I listened to it, the more intrigued I became by it. And again, it's a song that stood up the best over time. And can you imagine, it wasn't a single? What if they released that as a single and they ended up cutting the opening, So that's why I like it. It wasn't a single. It was there for the fans to really enjoy. And Sammy's playing it now on tour because it's such a loved song by the fan base.
You hit the nail on the head, man. In terms of guitar playing, like this song made me want to actually recommit myself to playing guitar.
Right.
And even to this day, dude.
Yeah.
There are still passages and phrases where I'm like, what? How did he do that?
Well,
and then you watch him play it live on the net and he's running. It pisses me off.
We still kind of scratch our head and we're like, how did he do that?
It's insane.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, I mean, it's like, it'd be like LeBron James, and he just can't do something that Michael Jordan did. You're like, wow.
Yeah.
Totally. Well, to me, 50-50 is like a game, a basketball game where Jordan, if he was playing in the lead position in Eddie's spot, pulls out every trick that Jordan has.
Yeah.
Like, if you're an Eddie fan of guitar playing, he puts in all the things that you love Eddie Van Halen for into that one solo. And then because you're looking over here, you don't realize that the rhythm guitar behind it is equally as funky and just in the pocket like nothing.
He just made it look so easy. But I none of that's bullshit about like that feeling I got when I first heard that album. I was blown away. I'm like, I need to feel that again. I'm playing it again.
And do you get it? Do you find if you put the album down for a couple months or a couple of weeks or whatever, you get it? I find I still do.
It comes back. It comes back. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. And honestly, like the first thing you hear is Sammy screaming "Hello, baby" on that album. I'm like, that has to be probably the best opening of any album ever, all times ever. The end. Right?
Again, that ballsy confidence, like.
Yeah.
You're replacing Dave and
it was just kind of like, here we are, guys.
So let me ask this, man. Do you think 5150 is like peak Van Halen?
No, I think
not the album, the song. The song.
Oh, the song. Because I was gonna say I think For Unlawful might be there. That's risen to the top. But I guess it's hard to say because if you're looking at the more like melodic pop friendly stuff, I think Why Can't This Be Love? I would know. You know what? I think Dreams might be like the overall package. Because
I believe that.
Yeah, I mean, like musically, it's like a 10, but it's also a hit. A huge hit. Yeah. So I like to put that in there too. But like 5150 from a musician standpoint, I would say it's maybe I don't know. I mean, boy, shit he did with during the Dave era, but
I was gonna say 5150 is kind of like hear about it later. It's like
right. That's the thing. I mean, can you
it's
go?
like a guitar player's tune. Yeah, there's some singable moments, but it's more of a guitar player song, right?
Yeah, like
Not a pop tune.
I mean, like, dude, like, like fucking Unchained, the intricacies of like the stop and start and all these things he's doing.
I think it's interesting though, Eric, that you said Foreign Lawful. That's really interesting to me because in many ways I kind of feel like a song like Judgment Day sort of soars at the same level as 5150.
Dude, I was just gonna say that.
Right.
Yes.
And even Balance, like Feeling off of Balance to me is like ultimate epic tune
You
as
guys
well.
talk about that.
You know what? That's actually maybe
Right.
even closer than
Yeah.
Judgment Day because Feeling kind of has the same vibe where it's kicking in, and kind of, and it picks up and just soars at the solo and
Yes,
then
yeah.
out.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like humans
Yeah.
being. I always say, humans being is like, when Ed comes in and they do the shine on part. It's like a rainbow bursting through the clouds, man. It's like that,
Mhm.
Yeah.
really cool.
Yeah.
I think they're onto something right with Feeling in
but-
5150.
Yeah,
Mhm.
there's that, there's that magical component there of the band. I want to say Foreign Lawful is like the best Sammy Ear album, but I think I have to objectively go with 5150 because with Foreign Lawful, there's songs you could probably leave out, like something's kind of a little dated, like the Spank, like
Even when I picked it up that day, I felt Man on a Mission could have stayed behind.
right. So like 5150 is compact and it's got, it's just got that magic to it. And so I think it's the highlight of the album, even though it's not the most pop, it's not the hit single or anything like that, but it's just, it's that Sammy era. It's that magic between the two of them that really, unmatchable.
Well said, brother.
That's it. Take care, guys.
Yeah,
Good seeing you.
extremely, and we're
Right.
out. No, extremely well said. I think, and this goes back to something that you said a few minutes ago to connect these dots in the context of this release now and having Live Without a Net in proper audio format. A song like 5150, the title track that's from Live Without a Net, is just masterful the way that they performed it. I mean, that little breakdown in the middle of the song where it's all like, kind of smoky and foggy, and Eddie's just playing with the harmonics, and Sammy starts working towards that big scream.
Whoa.
Now you're going to hear that in your car. Come on.
Yeah. Yep.
Right? Killer.
Oh yeah.
Killer.
I've caught many a buzz to Live Without a Net, let me tell you. On Saturday nights, getting ready to go out with the buddies. Yeah, that solo, it just speaks to just the band was so tight, and Ed and Al just lockstep. Yeah. There was Sammy was quoted about the album and the songs on the album in Paul Reese's book, Raised by Radio. The full title of the book is Raised on Radio, Power Ballads, Cocaine and Payola, the AOR Glory Years, 1976 to 1986. And Paul Reese does have a chapter entirely devoted to the Van Hagar years. And I thought it'd be interesting to share some of the quotes. Chapter 66 titled Van Hagar. And then he has a quote, Eddie was so fucking good, I hated him. They have a quote from Eric Martin, by the way, which is just still blows your mind that Eric Martin of Mr. Big, he was given the opportunity to audition and he panicked. You know the story, right? He was pulling up to Eddie's place. He's like, fuck this, I can't do it. John Kalodner, quote, I suggested that Sammy Hagar go with Van Halen. He was perfect for Van Halen. Eddie was used to a star who was not very easy to get along with, and Sammy Hagar was. So that John Kalodner was the guy who said, hey, I think they're going to work. Sammy, I had a good career going. I was wealthy. I was eating in the finest restaurants and wearing the finest clothes, driving Ferraris. I was becoming a little too sophisticated. It was killing my music. Whereas those guys were living a completely different lifestyle. These guys had cigarette butts and empty beer cans and whiskey bottles everywhere. Eddie comes walking out with a pair of sunglasses, jeans with holes in them, just out of bed, cracking a beer and smoking a cigarette. Alex was still drunk. Mike hadn't even been home. And he did say he was talking about in the interview with Professor Rock. He was reading a lot of books like Ayn Rand, and that's the Love Walks In is where he came up with the lyrics for that. So lyric, he was looking for some different things to write about. Mick Jones quote here: "I'd known Sammy Hagar for years. In fact, I believe it was Sammy and John Kolodner who championed my cause to Eddie and Alex Van Halen as the producer on the 5150 album. I knew from the time of hearing the basic backing tracks that my main task would be to find a spot for Sammy to be in because they already sounded so powerful. Essentially, it came out as the Fuck You, David Lee Roth album."
Sticking with 5150 as a title track, we've talked a lot about the music and the feel, the vibe of the song, and guitar players really being a fan of this song in particular. I think too, let's not forget lyrically, it was pretty smart. Lines for me like "I feel like a running politician, just trying to please you all the time." Like it's really really smart stuff. And as you've said, the music, Eric, on that song probably holds up the strongest, of any other track on the album. And ironically, some of the lyrics do as well. I mean, we're a nonpartisan show here at the Bogus Soda Show, but we know there's a lot of crazy stuff going on politically right now.
Yeah.
And a line like "I feel like a running politician, just trying to please you all the time" is very, very relevant and just as much, if not more so, today as it was 4 decades ago.
Right. Yeah. Very true. The love line is never straight and narrow.
It's such great stuff. So here's you've shared some really fantastic quotes from that chapter, and I wanted to share one as well. This is back to that Life book that I was talking about a couple of minutes ago, and this is bold, this is ballsy, but I think it speaks to them also knowing that they had lightning in a bottle. They had something pretty powerful going on here, and it was Sammy that said this. He said, "We all felt that the music we were making was on such a high level, we just didn't feel like anyone could touch us." And I think it's so true. I mean, you look at other big rock albums of 1986, Bon Jovi, Slippery When Wet, and I'm not necessarily a Bon Jovi fan, but I give a lot of props to some tunes on that album. I mean, like "You Give Love a Bad Name," who doesn't love that as a rock song, and the hook of that. "Wanted Dead or Alive," in my opinion, is possibly one of the best Bon Jovi songs they ever did. And it's from the same year and the same era. Even like an Ozzy with "Ultimate Sin," great song. "Shot in the Dark." They were going up against some pretty big albums and pretty big names in Ozzy and Bon Jovi and Metallica, Master of Puppets at the time. And for Sammy to look back and reflect on this album and that year and say, "We just didn't feel like anyone could touch us,"
Right.
is like, man, it's powerful.
The confidence to step into those shoes that were left by Dave. It's by the way, it's Sammy said Ozzy and Dio, and there was a third name he threw out there that he figured when he heard the news that Dave was out, he turned to his then wife, Betsy, and was like, "They're going to call me." Because he said, "It's either me, Ozzy, Dio," and it's killing me now. I'm thinking there was another one that he mentioned, but so he even had that confidence even at that point. Like he just felt like they're going to call him. But you think about, I mean, people assume the band was finished when Dave was out.
Yeah.
I mean, he was a huge personality. Most figured they couldn't exist without Dave. Instead, Sammy steps in and, I mean, instead of collapsing after Roth leaves, they go on to have a #1 album.
Well, you know what? It looked, especially when you watch it live without a net, it looked effortless. And all those albums you just mentioned, I like them too, right? But they felt worked and composed, and this one was like this is almost like 4 guys half screwing around, and the songs are this good, and they're running around while playing 5150. Come on.
And it was even looser on OU812 too when they talk about that, because that was
effortless, right?
I mean, almost to the point where Sammy said, "Maybe we got a little too laid back and kind of a little too cocky, maybe," but still, it was. That's when they really got super laser focused on For Unlawful. But
well, it's funny. I want to go back to what you said about Sammy thinking he was probably going to get one of the calls, because I'm trying to look back to see when's the earliest. Maybe listeners out there, you can tell us. When was the earliest time where Eddie and Alex, or specifically Eddie, in public, noted his affection for AC/DC and Bon Scott?
Oh,
Because he always, to me, Sammy is like
well,
a stronger Bon. He's got that Bon Scott rasp. He's got the Bon Scott kind of tenor. Like to me, like of course he's the guy.
oh,
Like
wow. Yeah, I didn't. Well, I
that's
mean,
the voice, man. That's Bon Scott. If you
well,
put a guitar on him too.
yeah, I mean, in '84, I don't know if he was quoted at that time. I know years later, I think in 2015,
That's
he
what I was trying
said
to. I
it.
was trying to find like when's the early? Was it before that? Because maybe Sammy saw it and is like, "Hey, man, I
Well,
sound like him. I'm in."
I don't know. I think it was playing with AC/DC on the Monster of Rock tour in '84. I'm sorry, '83, because it was prior to 1984. Because Drop Dead Legs was inspired by AC/DC, and Panama was inspired by AC/DC. Now that was Brian Johnson on lead vocal, so I don't
Well,
know
they
about the
always said down
but
payment blues, right? I mean, if you listen to that song, there's
right.
some Sammy-esque moments in that song vocally,
Well,
in my opinion.
Wolfgang would eventually say that the album that he and his dad would really connect on was Power Age.
Yeah.
With Bon Scott.
Yeah. So he's got that kind of
Yeah.
Sammy-ish voice. They're siblings in a way, sonically, sonic siblings. So I mean, maybe who knows? Maybe it got to Sammy at some point. Like, hey man, I sound just like that dude, and they love him. It's coming. It's either this one, or me.
Well, yeah, Eddie was happier on this record than he had been in a long time. I mean, he said it. Sammy was more collaborative. Sammy could sing melodies that he heard in his head instantly. Sammy could play guitar, so they could write together. So it was something that he was. I mean, you could see how much fun Eddie was having.
Well, I always thought it's funny. I felt that 5150 album and the title song was like the perfect combo of like the Roth era meets this. It's got Sammy's soaring vocals,
Mm-hmm.
epic backgrounds, but I felt like to me it was like the upgrade of little guitars, and I love little guitars.
Right.
But there's guitar wise, there's some similarities going on with that song and that vibe. I feel like this is the cousin of little guitars.
Good enough.
That's a
And
great point.
Summer Nights were written proposed for Dave. I mean, those are the two. And on Good Enough, you can hear that breakdown part that would have been classic Dave. Instead Sammy's like, hey waitress, that part. That's like a David Lee part.
Yeah,
right?
Rack of What's
Yeah.
a Dave thing for sure.
Yeah. That's that part that I'm sure that he was thinking this is where Dave will do his thing and he'll do the spoken word part. Yeah.
Yeah, it's very true. Eric, how do you feel about a song like Inside? Now, this is a pretty polarizing track because, it's a departure. It's very different in many ways, even though it fits from the rest of the stuff on the album. And some people will pan it as a throwaway, never should have been on it. Whereas for me, I think it really nicely encapsulated the playful, fun, re-injecting energy. This is who we are. We're just goofing around, to Darren's point a minute ago. And I think for all of those reasons, it really works. But there are just as many equal critics who sort of say, don't get it. What was the point?
Right.
It's kind of useless. Why?
Right. Well, I think if you're going to choose between this one or I Want Some Action, I would go with this one. It's interesting.
I would too, actually. I would too.
Yeah. My roommate in college said something that I'll never forget. It stuck with me. He goes, that sounds like Pink Floyd. He wasn't a big Van Halen fan. He was more like into Jane's Addiction and all that stuff. And he loved Pink Floyd. And he's like, that song sounds like Pink Floyd. I'm like, I guess. Like kind of menacing. But yeah, it's certainly not the best song on the album, but I think it's a fitting end. And I think it was a great way to finish it in the sense that you see all the guys, they're all like, they're buddies, they're just joking around and they're just having fun. And there is some singing on it, but then you hear all the spoken word parts in there. And I like it. I like it. There's one interesting part of that song. Years ago, I wrote an article for VHND that was the 9 Easter eggs, Van Halen Easter eggs you might have missed, and one of the on that song inside at the 441 mark, there's something you hear Alex say, "Hey, is Greg back yet?" And Greg was his drum tech, I believe. Yeah,
Yes,
it was
correct.
Alex's
Yep.
longtime tech.
Yeah, that's Greg
You'll hear him.
Emerson, I think his
Yeah,
name
yeah,
was. Yes. Yeah.
yeah. Greg Emerson. Yeah, I think it's a fun song, and I'm glad that they put it on there. It's interesting. It's a short album, but in those days, albums weren't. This is like pre-CD era. Once CDs became the thing, then bands were throwing on as many songs as they could. But with vinyl and cassettes, you had a limit. So, but it. So you both do you both feel like that was better than I Want Some Action? Would
Dude,
you rather?
Inside is like a cigarette after great sex.
Okay, there
How
you
else?
go.
How else can you finish the album
There
after
you
that
go.
epicness? How can you?
There you
How
go.
can you follow up 5150 with anything else? Right? You have
Yeah,
to. It's like the interlude to Hot for Teacher stretched into a song.
yeah,
Right?
Very true.
Hanging
That's
out.
a great
It's
point.
hanging out,
Great point.
yep.
chilling out, vibing out because we're done. You can't follow 5150.
No, I agree. I would never have thought like, oh, this song sucks. They shouldn't have put it on there. It just felt right. Just felt like it was just a fun ending to it.
And can you corroborate for us that it's never been played live, either the intro or anything? Has anything ever been played live of that
Oh,
song?
I'm gonna say 99.99% of me is saying they've never played it. There's no way unless they played it like in a one-off gig somewhere or did some kind of corporate gig that we're not aware of and they played it. I don't think they've ever played it.
Why?
Can you
Now,
imagine too?
Sammy,
You
now's
know,
the time.
I don't. I remember my friend in high school adamant about the fact that when he saw Van Halen play in Connecticut in '88, they played "Feel So Good" live. I'm like, I don't think so, man. I don't think. I don't. Have they ever played "Feel So Good" live?
If they have, it's been very, very rare.
Right.
There's
I mean,
Yeah,
no
and I
doubt.
can't see them playing that at the Monsters of Rock when you're following up Iron Maiden
right.
and Kingdom Come and Metallica.
But it was released as a single, so you would think they would have maybe thought like, yeah, we got to put it in there. But
Yeah,
none of
true,
them
man.
seem to like that song, and
I love it, but I mean,
love
like,
that song.
me too. So is that on the list of like maybe never played live anywhere?
Yeah, yeah. I don't think they have. Do a little more research on that, but I don't think so.
Well, they got a new keyboard player, man. He seems like a
Mm-hmm.
funky dude. Here we go. Come
Oh,
on.
that's right, Sam. If you're listening, man,
Come on.
ad feels so good. But I don't think Sam really liked it that much. I think is he the one that said it sounded a little too much like Genesis? I can't remember. I know.
That's funny. Yeah,
Yeah.
it does sound like it could be a Genesis tune, right?
Right.
Especially around the Invisible Touch era, right?
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, I never thought of that before. Actually, that's pretty cool.
I do have one more Mick Jones quote. I gotta
Do it.
get you. I'm just curious to see what you guys feel about this. This is in Paul Reese's book. Mick says, so now this is after the album's done. It's a big success. Mick Jones says, quote, I wasn't asked back. Eddie, like me with the Foreigner records, probably viewed 5150 as the end of our relationship. Also, I think he resented a little bit the fact that I'd helped them to get to that pinnacle, or at least that was how it appeared to me in the aftermath. For a time there, Eddie went into a different place. He had such a God-given gift, but like most people that are incredibly blessed, he paid a price for it in other areas of his life. Most often you find that deep down, these kinds of virtuoso people are very spiritual and they just can't handle the burden of what they're able to do or the acclaim that they're given. They turn elsewhere for ammunition. What I'm getting out of that is that maybe Eddie felt like, why is Mick getting any credit for this success? This was our
Yeah. Or
project.
maybe like,
This was
hey,
our-
thanks, Mick, but hey, could I have done that on my own now?
right.
Right. And you saw
Right.
the next album has no producer.
Exactly.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think they at some point brought in Mick Jones because the record company wasn't fully confident that they could produce it on their own. So
Right.
maybe there's also a little piece there. He was getting the vibe that Eddie was like, no, no, we can do this. Right. Look at the success.
And Ted Templeman was kind of, that name was put out there, but Templeman was committed to Eat 'Em and Smile with Dave.
Yeah.
And Eddie's quote was in that documentary that aired on MTV. And he was like, well, you know what? It was like, you know what? That thanks, but no thanks, Ted. We don't need you anyway, kind of thing. But
Yeah. Yeah. Very true. Very true.
I think
Have
they
you read
felt
this
like
book?
it. Which one is that?
This is Mick Jones' book.
No, I got to read it. Foreigner's Tale. I got to
It's
read
ridiculously hard to find.
that. Is it?
I will find. There is a section on Van Halen, but I will not read it now.
Okay.
But,
Well, it's interesting, with the AOR era, and this kind of, we can roll this into our discussion continuing with the Sammy era, but the AOR era was all about those big powerful hooks, the stadium ready hooks. And, but it was also the era of ballads, Love Walks In and, When It's Love, and those songs, of course, were a huge success. But with Foreigner, Mick Jones was, he saw the success that they had with I Want to Know What Love Is. And, he wanted to keep cranking those songs out. And Lou Gramm was like, guys, we're a rock and roll band. This is ridiculous. We're getting too soft, so I don't think that Eddie felt that way. Sammy, obviously not, because Sammy always mixed in the ballads with the hard rockers.
and well, you said it yourself, man. The music speaks for itself, right? So, like,
Yeah.
at 40 years now, where does 5150 as an album sit, and what's the big takeaway from 40 years of this album?
Yeah, like you talk a big picture music. There's two answers.
There's a lot to celebrate,
Van Halen
right?
history and music history, right?
Yeah, there's a lot to celebrate, right?
Yeah. Yeah. It's an album that proved that the band, Van Halen, wasn't just a band that was built around a front man. It was a band that was built around Eddie's creativity, and that they could adapt to the change in the times. I think Sammy came along at the right time when ballads became a big thing, and I think it's I think it should go down in Van Halen history, for that reason. But I think in the bigger picture of things, just in music history, I think it's one of the greatest. I don't want to say comeback story, because I said comeback, and Martin Popoff was right about that too. He says it really wasn't a comeback, because comeback means the previous, like you were down and out, up against the ropes. They were not with 1984, as we know. But I think it's one of the most inspirational stories of a band who was on top, and one band member is removed, and it's a prominent band member, and everybody but the band gave up on them. Even the record label was having their doubts, right? And it's an inspiration in that sense of, if you believe in yourself enough, forget the detractors, you can succeed. And I think in music history, it's up there with Brian Johnson with Back in Black and what they did after Highway to Hell. I think it's right up there. You're talking near impossible odds. And they had a number one album, huge success, and went on to have 3 more after that. So I think, I don't know. I don't think I could really say any more than that. I'm curious what you guys think, but yeah, they suddenly sound like a band that, they that could dominate rock radio, and they could still put up the numbers live. It was a huge success. It was a great story, I think. Although the Dave fan, and I love Dave, but the diehard Dave only fans, Dave himself, I think, was anticipating it to fail. So I'll be back by the end of the 80s. I'll do a few solo albums and I'll come back,
Yeah, so it's a triumph, right? It's a sonic triumph from a band that maybe for a second there people thought we're not going to. It's the odds of, losing a major member and coming back would not be like at this level. But it's not just a regaining of the title, but like they went to soaring heights. And depending on how you look at music, and if I like pop, man. If you have, there's poppier elements in the melodic side of it. I thought they brought out just at the right time.
I'm with you on that, which is why I'm a fan. So some people don't like that stuff, but you talk about a band that was in complete chaos and, they went from chaos to creative freedom and, onwards and upwards, man. It was like sky's the limit from that point.
And it's soared where the eagles fly.
Yes. There you go. Thank you.
Where can listeners find you, man? Where can we find you?
Oh, bookdownrock.com is the best place to go because you'll find that's where you can get all the listening platforms, the links to all of them. We're the show's on all Spotify and you name it, but also the YouTube channels there. And I'm on Facebook, X, Blue Sky, Twitter, Instagram. I've got some really cool episodes coming up. I'm very excited. I got Ginger Baker's daughter, Nettie Baker.
Nice.
Wow.
Got Greg Prato coming on to talk about his Smashing Pumpkins book. I've got Jeff Harkness coming on to talk about Guns N' Roses, Use Your Illusion 1 and 2. Nettie Baker, I mentioned, Ginger Baker's daughter, and she's written 3 books on Cream. Got Stuart McConey, another Beatles episode coming up. Lots of good stuff. Subscribe wherever you listen or on YouTube, and we're all over there.
Eric, as always, your insight is very interesting. We love diving deep with you. And I mean, it's hard to believe we're looking back at 40 years. Unbelievable.
40. Yeah.
40 years. Crazy.
I'll just finish with, if Sammy is listening to this, thank you, Sammy, for this album, because it's the most important album of my life. It really is. Changed my life. So thanks, Sammy and Eddie, wherever you are, man. And Mikey and Alex. I just, this album will always have a special place in my heart. So that's why I was so looking forward to this and talking about this album with you guys. So thank you so much for having me on.
Thank you.
No, thank you for that perspective. And I think it's fair to say, dare I, that Eric Senich believes that 5150 is U.S. Prime grade A stamp guaranteed.
Amen.
And we are the Bohos. Out.
Sammy-centric podcast? Come on. You need a Michael Anthony podcast. Forget Sammy Hagar. Come on. Keep rocking, guys. Yeah.